Tensions are ratcheting up to an even higher degree, and even more so overnight as police cleared a pro-Palestinian encampment at UCLA in California. Students defied orders to leave there, and it's the latest clash on college campuses since the demonstrations began weeks ago. Today, response from President Biden for the first time, and a clear one. Here's Alice Barr.
In the latest flashpoint in the anti-war protests roiling college campuses across the country, police in riot gear cleared a pro-Palestinian encampment at UCLA early this morning, arresting hundreds of protesters who refused to leave.
We're a civil society, and order must prevail.
President Biden addressing the growing unrest.
I understand people have strong feelings and deep convictions. In America, we respect the right and protect the right for them to express that. But it doesn't mean anything goes.
It comes after clashes between police and protesters on several campuses, including Columbia University in New York, where the NYPD cleared demonstrators who breached a building and barred the doors.
Violent protest is not protected. Peaceful protest is.
The president referenced students' rights to walk to class freely and condemned incidents of anti-Semitism and all hate speech.
It's all wrong. It's un-American.
That as demonstrators held a rally against anti-Semitism at George Washington University in the nation's capital.
Be loud and stand together against anti-Semitism.
Where a largely peaceful pro-Palestinian encampment has been underway all week, echoing demands across the country that universities cut financial ties with Israel and the Biden administration stop supporting Israel's fight against Hamas. President Biden saying today the protests have not forced him to reconsider his policies as his administration presses for a ceasefire deal to pause the fighting, surge aid to relieve Gaza's humanitarian crisis, and bring Hamas-held hostages home. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Idaho Senators Mike Crapo and Jim Risch are part of a new push to introduce legislation that they say would prevent any pro-Hamas protester on college campuses convicted of a crime from having their student loans forgiven. Idaho's Senate delegation says in a statement that the bill comes after widespread anti-Semitic protests across the country on college campuses. Senator Crapo says in part that the legislation sends a strong message that criminal activity will not be tolerated on America's college campuses, especially when it promotes anti-Semitism. Risch adds in part that the president's entire student loan scheme, in his opinion, is a political handout, and the idea that the handout will go to extremists sympathizing with terrorists is even more egregious, end quote.